Hey everyone, my name is Dragon Boy and welcome back. Today I'm going to be trying out a set of pencil crayons I got from the Dollarama here in Ontario. These actually come in 4 separate packs. They're $4 a piece, making the entire set $16 before taxes. I don't know if they sell these anywhere other than Dollarama. Pretty sure they don't. But I will say that not all Dollaramas seem to carry this. I have been to 4 in my area, and only one of them actually has these things. Now, these are the Studio branded pencil crayons. These are triangular pencil crayons, which is really exciting. And these are sort of like, these tins are color packs of sorts. It doesn't really say whether they consider them a pack of reds, a pack of blues, or whatever, but there's one that has like some tans, browns, and reds. Then there's one that has pinks, browns, reds, and oranges. Then there's pinks, purples, blues, greens, and grays. And then there's a one with greens, turquoises, teals, some earthy tones as well, and black. So this is kind of confusing because the colors on here seem to be labeled from 1 to 72 throughout all 4 tins here. But the colors don't seem to be arranged in that way of a color wheel. So it's going to be kind of interesting trying to sort these out into something else, because as much as I like that they came in a metal tin, I like to keep all my stuff in one place. That's just how I am. A little OCD. Maybe a little hoardery, since I went out and bought more art supplies than I'm probably ever actually going to need. But, well, that's what we do here on this channel. We buy more than we need and try to make an excuse to use all of it. Anyways, we're going to dive down. We're going to rip the plastic off of these and take a closer look at all the pencil crayons. And then we are going to draw a picture, because that's what these are made for. Right? Here's my trusty random razor blade I had on my desk from cutting laminated stuff. Let's crack into this first one. This pack ranges from number 1 to 18. Mind you, these are all numbered from 1 to 72 throughout the whole thing, I assume, because there's numbers on the top here, and it ranges from 1 to 18. So I'm guessing that these pencil crayons don't have a similar naming scheme like Copic, Artist Loft markers, and whatnot have, where it has like Y13 and whatever. It's kind of like the first letter of the color it is, and then where it sits on the scale. These seem to just be numbered randomly, because these colors don't look like they line up on a color wheel, but I guess we'll find out. So here we are. We have the first set. Let's take a look at the actual pencil crayons. There is a woody smell. They smell like pencil crayons. Why am I surprised? So I can't verify whether or not the leads are accurate to the color of the back of the pencil, because I have gotten things from the dollar store before that had the backs colored to indicate the ink or lead color, and it was not accurate. And most pencil crayons have the entire body dipped in the color that they are, but even that's not very accurate. But overall, they look nice. They look very professional for being dollar store pencil crayons. And I mean, at $4 a pack, I can believe that they might be really good, because even some of the really nice low-end ones for a 72 pencil crayon kit are only like $20, $24 or something like that. That being Canadian, it's probably cheaper for people in the US. But this looks relatively nice. The wood doesn't look too cheap. It looks like pretty decent quality wood to make the pencil crayons on. I know there's a lot of pencil crayons out there that don't use wood. They use some sort of tree-saving synthetic material that looks and kind of feels like wood. But from what I think, because you can see grain, I think this is actual wood. So this is the range of like yellows and browns and some reds too. So I'm going to crack the rest of these ones open and just open them up on the table so you guys can see them all, and then we'll jump over to Art Place to do Draw. If you gave these to me in a separate container that wasn't one of these tins. Like if you put them in perhaps one of those leather slotted things for pencil, crayons, pens, and markers and stuff, you could tell me that these cost a lot of money. And if I didn't know what the brand Studio was, I'd believe you. Because these things look like not dollar store pencil crayons. Now it's a matter of testing them out and seeing if they work as well as I'm hoping they do, because that's a lot of pencil crayons, and if they suck, I'm not going to know what to do with them, because I'm not just going to like throw them out. So if they suck, then well, I have pencil crayons that suck. Let's get over there and start drawing. I wanted to do something cute, so I let the pose just take form as I want. It's pretty similar in nature to the positive vibes piece I did for the end of 2020, but this was completely unintentional. Here, I'm just getting the pose and some basic details roughed out while I watch a movie, and then from there I can finish the sketch and get to the line work. Like the last video, I tried to make use of as many fine liners as possible. Not because that's necessarily the correct way to use them, but because I'd like to get to know them a little bit more, and this is my way of doing that. I'm not gonna lie, getting back into traditional art has been therapeutic, and has helped me greatly with the anxiety I have on a daily basis. For this reason, I highly recommend giving art a try if you haven't already. I find expressing myself in a visual form really helps me deal with day-to-day life. Not to make this video sad or anything, I just think it's wonderful. And as the line work gets closer to being done, I went through all the pencil crayons, created a color chart, and chose the colors I wanted to use for a base layer. I proceeded to lay the base layer of color down, so the next steps would be a little less overwhelming. Next was to work with the saturation and shading of the piece. This was all experimental, as I basically have no idea what I'm doing. Pencil crayons are completely new to me. Despite having low experience with this medium, I think this turned out way better than I ever could have hoped. And while I have a long way to go in my learning, I think this is a great start. So in conclusion, I am extremely happy with these and very surprised with how they worked, because I wasn't necessarily expecting them to be as cheap or low quality as the pencil crayons I had when I was a kid. That I got a 12 pack for $1, and when I tried to sharpen the pencils, the wood would split. Occasionally the whole pencil would split in half. The leads broke very often, and I thought that's because maybe I was heavy-handed or was using them wrong. And looking back, I remember that it was really hard to get thick, saturated coverage on my paper when drawing and coloring things in. And now I realize that was a result of the pencil leads just being so dry, possibly lacking pigment. I mean, they were literally bottom of the barrel, low quality pencil crayons, and I wasn't necessarily expecting these to end up that way because the price tag was much higher per tin and you didn't get them all. But at the same time, I wouldn't have been surprised if they turned out like that because, well, the dollar store used to be pretty bad back then. It's a little better now than it was, but at the same time, wouldn't have been too surprised. At the same time, I was not expecting these to feel like high-end pencil crayons. Now, that's coming from someone who has little to no experience with the high-end products, so I don't really have anything to compare it to. But if you were to give these to me in a separate package, and I'd never seen the brand Studio before, and you told me that these were a set of high-end pencil crayons, you could have given me an extremely high number and had me use them for a while, there's a pretty good chance that I'd believe you. And I would be insanely shocked when you revealed to me that it was from a dollar store. Now again, lack of experience with actual high-end pencil crayons, but I honestly think if you're looking for a set of pencil crayons that are really nice to use with soft leads that are cheap, just based on my current experience, these Studio pencil crayons are actually a pretty decent option. I mean, you saw the art. I had a lot of fun drawing that, and despite my lack of experience and skill with shading with pencil crayons, because obviously there are some parts of this that could have been done a little better. The blacks weren't shaded incredibly good, and perhaps I was a little bit dark and too excessive with color mixtures on the jeans, but overall I really like the way that it turned out. You probably can't see this because of the reflection through the window, but I'm extremely happy with it. I honestly had a hard time believing that I was the one that drew this because I do stuff digitally. I'm used to seeing things that I draw digitally, and I'm not saying everything that I draw is amazing because there are often times where I spend hours drawing something and then I stare at it and go, I hate it. Why did I do this? But regardless, if you are in Ontario or somehow happen to have a Dollarama nearby, I'd suggest going and checking these out. I can't verify whether or not these are only sold at Dollarama. I'm under the impression that the Studio brand is Dollarama's house brand of stuff, but I could be wrong. I've Googled around and haven't really found anything, but there's a good chance that my Google foo is lacking lately. Isolation does some things to you. With that said, I've been Dragon Boy. You've been incredible. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. There are links in the description to my social media and my website. Website's currently being worked on, so you're really going to see a splash page that says it's being worked on. But overall, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me and watching me experiment with new stuff. There's more to come from here on out. In fact, I have a special little thing up here, which I'm so excited to try. Anyone who's had one of these before probably knows what it is just by looking at the back of it. But this is an Artist Loft colorless blender for wax-based pencil crayons. So stay tuned, because next episode's going to be looking at this.